We are a real Paleo-Libertarian. This is Rothbardian Paleo-Libertarianism!
The illusion of universalism has forced the organic complexities of human societies into rigid geometric boxes where they simply do not belong. We have been told that globalization is an inevitable march toward progress, but in reality, it is a weapon of hyper-homogenization designed to strip individuals of their cultural genetic codes, their property, and their traditions, when a man returns to his own homeland only to find that the local, warm, and time-tested customs have been dissolved into a soup of Western-centric digital feudalism. He experiences a profound civilizational alienation. What the modern world labels as liberation is actually an authoritarian consolidation that replaces real, organic human relationships with artificial simulacra and technological toys designed to rot the human mind from within. We are surrounded by billions of individuals who do not openly lie, but who have internalized the broken, artificial norms of the globalist machine so deeply that they defend their own psychological captivity with absolute sincerity. It is within this bleak, technocratic landscape that the vital importance of Rothbardian Paleo-Libertarianism becomes undeniable. Political and economic freedom cannot exist in a cultural vacuum. For liberty to survive, it must be anchored in the bedrock of traditional social institutions, private property, and the non-aggression principle. True order is not maintained by a bloated, omnipresent state bureaucracy that dictates moral compliance through legislation. Rather, it thrives through voluntary association, where the state shrinks to a minimal defensive apparatus, leaving communities free to self-regulate through organic mechanisms like social stigma, family authority, and mutual consent. The Rothbardian insight recognizes that the preservation of traditional, decentralized cultural structures is the ultimate shield against state encroachment. When we look back at how conflicts were resolved just a decade ago, before the total triumph of digital globalism, we see the natural efficiency of these traditional protective shields. Disagreements, personal friction, or instances of non-consensual behavior were managed through local, organic channels. A man could rely on his father for protection, seek mediation through close friendships, or reach a voluntary consensus with those who opposed him. If someone crossed a boundary, a firm warning based on mutual respect and traditional boundaries was issued, urging the aggressor to stay away. The community absorbed the shock, the issue was settled through private agreement, and life moved forward without the destruction of the individual. This is the very essence of liberty, a system rooted in private property rights and absolute consent, where problems are handled within the private sphere without inviting the iron fist of a regulatory state or the catastrophic malice of a borderless collective. Today, however, the globalist digital architecture has completely bypassed these traditional defense mechanisms. The rise of institutionalized online harassment platforms and unchecked digital syndicates has created an environment of total psychological warfare, where the fundamental principle of consent is systematically violated. When a platform or a mob continues a campaign of targeted harassment for years against an individual who has explicitly demanded that they stop, this is not an exercise of free speech or liberty. It is a direct, violent transgression against the non-aggression principle. To mask this systemic bullying under the guise of libertarian values or to protect it through state-sanctioned legal immunities is a disgusting perversion of political philosophy. True freedom ends exactly where another person's non-consent and bodily or digital autonomy begins. By eroding local traditions and forcing humanity into a hyper-connected, atomized digital dependency, this globalist shift has rotted the social fabric and left the individual completely defenseless against predatory networks. We can no longer take risks, build authentic lives, or express dissent within our own borders because the digital mob operates on a doctrine of total annihilation rather than local resolution. This is why a return to Paleo-Libertarian principles is an urgent necessity. We must dismantle the technocratic state and the globalist monopolies that feed it, restoring power to the natural order of family, private property, and localized cultural frameworks. Only when we reclaim the right to handle our affairs through private, voluntary consensus, and only when the non-aggression principle is fiercely defended against both physical and digital predators, will mankind break free from this artificial cage and breathe the air of genuine liberty once again.